All that insider trading. I thought Nancy Pelosi was going to be one. 3 million compared to 96? Oh my God. It's like ignorance is bliss, but the truth will set you free. All right, China's insane PR rebrand. Let's go.
Start this video. Dear American government, Tommy NFG is not associated with the Communist Party of China. This video has solely been made with the free thoughts the American government has given him. He would also like to add,
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Everything that they told you about China was a fucking lie. And people started to become aware of that before the iShow speed streams. It was when everybody was getting on Red Note and they were seeing how Chinese people were living their life because they had access to their content, and they realized that it wasn't just a bunch of sweatshops, but instead it was beautiful infrastructure, high-tech cities, inventions that we could never even believe, that we could never even wrap our heads around, because it's like they're living in the future. There's a reason why Chinese cars are banned in America, because they would shit on every other car that's here. They have cars that you can drive in water. Shit is crazy. And then iShow Speed just going over there really just showed people what was going on. And then you had the whole situation with the Chinese manufacturers, which I think was kind of low key. Even though it was public information, I feel like the government kind of pushed that to really drive it in home that a lot of the products that you see come from China anyways, and it's not even worth paying for. So you might as well just get that fake ass Chinese shit. And I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying it to say that they do all the manufacturing. A lot of these designer brands, it says made in Italy. No, they stamped the logo on there in Italy and said it was made in Italy, but the bag that you bought or the shirt that you bought, that shit was made in China, bro. He's dragging it. He's fucking dragging it.
Alright, that should be enough for me to not get kicked out the country now. If you were to ask the average American in many countries if they wanted to visit China in like 2013, they probably hit you with a... You're visiting China? Ah, hell.
Yo, do you remember? I remember a year ago, they had like propaganda that had these Chinese kids wearing these headbands, and it would like flash a specific color. And if it was red, you weren't focusing. If it's green, you were. So the way that they explained China was this place where they just have full control over you. Like, come on, bro.
Oh, nah, what the f you gonna do there? Meet Poe and become the Dragon Warrior? Walk the Great Wall of China? Man, good luck. You're gonna need it. But nowadays, it seems the notion is kinda shifting. People have more and more been actively saying they want to visit China now. And I'm not gonna lie, as someone who was one of those people saying they were good on visiting China, my stance has been changing in the past year or so. Or as the American government would say,
have you ever been associated or affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party?
I've been propaganded. A big shift in why people's minds have been changing about it, and especially Americans, is that there's basically no one that trusts the government anymore. In the past, especially before social media was a thing, it's proven that people trusted the government and politicians a lot more. Like, no, because
everybody knows that they were fed a bunch of shit, and we realized that the life that they advertised to us was not the life that we were given. And so it made everybody question everything around them, bro.
Who was president? People would always find things they liked and disliked about the president. Everyone wasn't having arguments 24/7 and culture wars about the dumbest shit ever. It was like, yeah, we may have different beliefs, but at the end of the day, we're gonna stay united when things go down, which is something you don't see at all nowadays. It's almost like the government actually moved with a purpose back then. But nowadays, because we see all the corruption played right in our faces, it's not like they can lie about it. There is actual websites online where you can see politicians.
All that insider trading. I thought Nancy Pelosi was gonna be one. 3 million compared to 96? Oh my God. Yo, these guys are getting a bag because they get to pass all the legislation, so they get all that insider stuff. Wow.
And what stocks they're buying. If you follow exactly what they do, you end up doubling and tripling your profits because they have the game plan set. Like, they know what's gonna happen before it's announced. Ref, come do something about it. Oh wait, the ref is paid off too. The biggest thing nowadays where I would say people truly lost any trust in the American government, if they had any left, is the Israel versus Palestine war. The fact that you see a majority of people in the world majorly sided with one side, Palestine, and no one's saying you can't criticize their side's involvement in the war, if you could even call it that. Like, one side has a whole army and gets billions of dollars from the government a year and drops like 50 bombs every month. But I'll be neutral about it for this argument's sake. It's the fact that none of the government even acknowledges them. As soon as you see some reporter ask them a question about the conflict, it's like they flip a switch in their brain and turn it to an NPC, and they start reading what they've been paid to read. This is both political sides doing it too. And when people lose trust in one government, they always look at another. Now, I'm not saying China's government is perfect by any means, like, not at all. But I'm saying that's the way a lot of people look at it. Also, they might have been right about TikTok being Chinese propaganda, because oh boy, has it been on a roll recently. Last year, a lot of people started seeing videos of Chinese car brands and how their cars are. And seeing them compared to American cars, a lot of them absolutely on us, and it's not even close.
Facts.
Like, they'll have cars over there that in America may cost over 30K or 40K for like $15,000 or less. And that's because since they have a way larger population compared to America, the car brands out there have to really show off to make it. And I've already talked about—
Yo, and it's crazy because it's like, in China, they're just building all these new cities and all this new infrastructure. And as China is progressing, America is degrading. Like, if you look at cities like Gary, Indiana and shit like that, it's like those cities were in their prime back in the 1900s. It's like these cities should be getting built up. Everything should be getting better with time. Why is it that things are getting worse?
It before, but they have a car that can literally become a boat and float.
Yes, that shit is so tough. Oh my God. Do people drive in the water out there? You can't tell me that's not fire. Yo, would you get in a car like this and get in the water? Like, yo, we gotta drive across the ocean real quick. Or like a lake. Would you do it? That's so tough. I remember being a kid and thinking that you could drive through the water with a regular car. Across the ocean, I'm in a lake.
You know
or
how
something.
useful that would be if a flood happened and how many lives would be saved? And I low-key understand why the American government doesn't let their cars be sold here, because all the American car brands here would be cooked. The two most driven car brands in the US aren't even from America. So could you imagine even more competition?
They're the cheapest to maintain. American cars always go to shit.
From
And
other countries came in.
America always prides itself on American muscle. They're not even that fast, probably compared to these cars.
Yeah, say goodnight for
GTA
Tesla. They have
action?
cars
Oh, God.
even more affordable than the regular ones they sell. They have a car called the Wuling Mini EV, and off the lot it only costs $5,000. I know something like this car wouldn't be for everyone, clearly, but at this point a lot of
I mean, if you need if you need a car and you need to get from point A to point B, is it really that crazy?
Want something to afford. Some people just want a car that's affordable that can take them from A to B. And this would be perfect if you're in like high school or college and just want something to take you places.
Bro, imagine
you don't always
doing DoorDash with that.
gotta play passenger princess with your homies and ask them, can they take you somewhere? And your car payment would be like, what, $100 a month or something? In China, the car is so popular, it outsold Tesla in its second year of being out. And Tesla has been in China since 2014. This put a smile on my face researching this more than it should have. If there was no Elon Musk haters in the world, then I'm dead. It's not all peaches and perfect though. For cars made that cheap, safety standards tend to be not the best. Like if you get in a crash with that mini EV car going 20 miles per hour, there's probably about an 80% chance it's gonna be your coffin. And also the build quality will most likely be worse, but they also have a ton of cars that aren't like that and pass safety inspections in other countries. If you get a $5,000 car thinking you're getting the safest and most reliable car, you're cooked. Chinese car brands are basically everywhere but America. It's common to see these type of cars all the time in Europe. They're in countries all over South America, they're in Africa, they're in the Middle East. And some person who's grown up in America their whole life may think these brands are just obscure, unknown car brands only sold in China. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is whipping these like no tomorrow. Which is why I think it's such a shocking thing when Americans see these cars at first. And how cheap and good they could be, and
Shit make me want to move out of America, god damn it.
a new car doesn't have to cost your entire soul. I was one of those people too, because all my life I never heard about these car brands until kind of recently. Speaking of recently, Chinese factories have been exposing a lot of luxury brands on TikTok too. Most of the time with designer brands, people are used to them being from European countries. Balenciaga is made in Spain, Louis Vuitton is made in France, Gucci is from Italy, and most people assume that actual products are made in these countries with hand stitching by the finest designers. But it turns out that whole thing may be a scam. This is all allegedly, by the way, you know, for legal purposes. I can't fully prove any of the claims made. And let me not say the whole thing is a scam. Obviously, designer brands do have factories in places like Italy and France and also the US. But they try their absolute best to never mention they have them in China too. There's brands that have eventually admitted it. Like Prada has openly said they produce some of these clothes and accessories there. And also Burberry has admitted they do the same. But the super high-end ones like Chanel and Louis Vuitton and Dior always deny it. So on TikTok, you've had these, I don't know what to call them, maybe factory runners or something, coming out and showing
manufacturers
how much they really make the bags for. store. This one Chinese guy who manages a factory has been going viral for a bunch of different videos talking about it, and he breaks down how they do it.
More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China, but those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own countries and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France, you know.
Yo, you know what's crazy? Oh my God. So my mom, I actually have memories behind this, and I had to call my mom about this. My mom knew about this. So I called her. I was like, yo, mom, do you know about this situation, right? And it reminded me of some childhood memories that I used to have. So growing up in Virginia, going to New York is like a 4-hour drive, right? Well, it's probably like 4 to 6, right? So my mom would take us, especially during spring break, she'd take us to New York. She'll go to Chinatown and hit every little one of those stores and spend I'm talking about looking at everything to find the closest thing that she could find to the real designer shit. And she would haggle the price down because she knows that it was made for super low. So she would negotiate the price, get a bunch of shit, go from store to store to store to store, spend the entire day doing that. And then maybe the next day we'll go to like Times Square. And then after that, we'll be gone. You know what I mean? And my mom used to do this all the time because she knew this back in the day. She was faking it until she made it. She already knew. And when I talked to her about it, she's like, yeah, I remember. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like, I've been knowing this. You know what I mean? And it's like, back then I was ignorant because I was a kid. I'm like, nah, I could never wear anything fake. When in reality, the reps and the real shit is really the same thing. You know what I mean? You just paying more for it. Why? So you could say that you spent $300 on a Balenciaga shirt. You want a you want to signal to people that you're willing to pay $1,000 for a shirt so they could treat you like it. They could treat you like money. Nizzy used to be a kid. I thought he was 26 this whole time. Come on, bro. I was definitely a kid, and it was just crazy because my mom was like, she was so goated for that, bro. And it's like little memories like that, just it like made me smile just thinking back about that. Damn.
All those sophisticated European countries which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. Now, close your eyes. Let's just do a little very easy experiment in your head, okay? Imagine that you have Hermes bag and suddenly the label on it changed from made in France into made in China, while everything else like leathers, zippers, and hardware remain the same. Do you suddenly feel that your bag is not as luxury as before? If you do, that means you have been misled and poisoned by the market campaign of those luxury brands for too long.
Because everything in this life is a fucking lie, bro. And it's like ignorance is bliss, but the truth will set you free.
This is a commonly known thing in the fashion industry for luxury brands to do this. And if the whole public finds out about this system, it might be endgame for all these brands. People only buy them for real to feel
it's been public knowledge. They don't even hide it because their marketing is that strong.
Exclusive. It's written in American and European laws that as long as the product is just finished in that country, they can put it's made there. In America, they can put something like designed in USA or assembled, even though like 5% of it was. It's hilarious because the reason this all started happening and why these factory workers started coming out about this is because of Trump's tariffs. So in the long run, instead of the tariffs helping the country and having people produce stuff here, it's gonna hurt us once realize all the luxury they buy here for crazy prices is all made in China for like $50. At that point, what's the point of even buying the real version of the product? People have already started to share the websites as they're getting
People already know though that we living in a import economy. We don't live in an export economy. China is an export economy. So everything that the majority of the shit that we're getting anyways is made somewhere else.
Bags for cheap. I've heard different things about this. Some people say the websites actually give them the exact bags for over 90% off, and others say it's not the same quality and they're completely different bags. But hey, if y'all want to do research and you only got $1 and penny to your name, just search up Chinese warehouse on TikTok and people are there listing the websites they get things from. Shh, don't say I never put y'all on anything. It won't be long before Congress bans this method, so get ASAP. Most people have known for a while though that these products get marked up like crazy just because the brand logo. And hey, if you feel like you want to buy it real, you know, that's your money. Spend it the way you want to. The only people I don't understand is the people who buy super expensive designers.
Can we watch Bunny Girl Senpai tonight? No, not tonight.
It's the most ugly looking thing ever. Like, at least buy something that looks good. Especially in shoes, people have been knowing this for the longest. Reps have been a thing I've known since middle school. Will pull up with light up Yeezys and then get roasted to oblivion. And this is something I can actually account for.
Yeah, you have like a fucking middle schooler or like a 9th grader wearing all designer outfits every single day. Like, bro, we know you didn't pay full price for that. We know those are reps, bro. You're not fooling anyone.
Or not the light abusive part though, because I got no shame in my game. I got a couple of reps in my closet. Never has anyone came to me and called them out either. All these shoes, whether real or reps, are made in the exact same factories. People do side to sides all the time of the real ones versus fake ones, and there's almost no difference. And I know it's made in the same factories because for the ones I ordered, the dude sent me a picture of the Chinese factory behind him to ask me if everything looks good. I think it's a good thing that this is happening.
I mean, bro, most people don't know the little small differences anyway, so who cares?
That reps have been becoming normalized. You have to be a nerd ass anyways to look at someone's shoes in public and go,
it seems like stitch number 4 is slightly and arbitrarily off on your shoe, so due to these factors, my conclusive conclusion is you must be wearing a dupe.
That whole thing is a high school mentality. Past high school, genuinely no one gives a what you wear and would even check. The only time you're gonna get roasted is if it's blatantly obvious. Like if your Jordan logo is hitting the Dougie or something, then your ass just ordered from the wrong Chinese factory and got a better supplier. And that's one of the things people have been talking about with these reps. You have to make sure you're getting it from valid websites so that doesn't happen. A factor I think no one saw coming into this whole China PR rebrand was iShowSpeed. iShowSpeed for the past month of March and April had a series of streams where he streamed in different parts of China. I think this was smart because for one, almost no American or Western content creators tap into the China market. Places like Hollywood always do it and try to promote.
You know what blows my mind? YouTube is banned in China. So how do they know about iShowSpeed?
Promote their movies there because they make a lot of money there. And surprisingly, something I didn't know is a lot of them watch YouTube even though it's banned there. From what I've heard, their ban on social media and YouTube isn't really enforced like that. And all the kids just use VPNs to watch YouTubers. It's kind of like how America has a law against jaywalking. Technically, legally, it's illegal.
Or like pirating and shit, but a lot of people have their websites that they watch, yeah.
But if it's the middle of the night and there's no cars around, you can walk that safely. You're not gonna get put in prison for 5 years. Even if a cop sees you jaywalk, they might at most let you off with a warning. Anyway, Speed had these streams and the clips were going mega viral every day. He was showing off a bunch of the advanced technology they had that America doesn't.
Dancing with a robot
like in
is
one
crazy.
clip, he was randomly in a flying car.
You know what's crazy? A flying car is literally just a helicopter. You're sitting in a drone. I don't even think that there is like a need to have flying cars, bro. They're just having it just for the sake of having it.
And in another clip, he shows off one of their supercars, which is around $250,000. That has features no car in the US even comes close to.
I just bought this $250,000 car in China. Let's see what it can do.
Yo!
The car even does the suey! Chat, the car can even dance by itself. Look. Oh, damn. Right.
Why does it do that?
This car can even turn by itself. Look, it can turn by itself. Hell no! It can turn by itself.
What?
Oh, did it just jump? Oh hell no! Hell! Chad,
They got hydraulics on that bitch.
And there's just clips on clips on clips of Speed showing different parts of China that in America you
what
don't
is
really
that?
see. So people have been memeing and talking about how Speed is destroying billions of dollars of American propaganda. I always think it's so crazy how Speed came from clips like yelling at Ash Cash and setting off fireworks in his room.
But like he was just a stupid teenager at that time. I feel like most teenagers have that edgy arc when they're like 14, 15, 16, 17, around that time, around high school age, where they start, you know, coming into the fact that they're growing up and becoming an adult. So they start speaking a certain way or moving a certain way, or they stop really caring about shit. And they're just like, you know, coming into adulthood, they're doing what they want. And that's what Speed was doing. He just grew up. You know what I mean? Like you just witnessed him go from a little boy to he's becoming a man.
To potentially causing a disturbance in U.S. foreign relations. I know this sounds crazy, but I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if the American government made some type of law saying you can't show China in a positive.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. They probably definitely interviewed him after that live.
Like even China at this moment knew this.
Like as soon as he came back, he was met with a definite pulled him to the side. Somebody got him in a room, probably called up the president. President came through on Air Force One and he was like, well, why did you go to China?
opportunity with speed was too dumb not to take advantage of. They put this man's face on one of their Ferris wheel attractions for a night as a thank you. And they also put him on a billboard in one of their cities as a thank you. Like, this is the type of stuff a country should be doing to thank someone doing what Speed is doing. And they talked about him all on their news networks and was showing his stream. In America, I imagine if one of the biggest Chinese
You know what's crazy though? Like, they gave him the blueprint to be able to stream on YouTube from China. So they were obviously very aware of his influence and his PR and what that could do for relations. They definitely took full advantage of that.
Bloggers came here and started doing this, they would be deported and called a spy. And I know a lot of people will say something like this doesn't really matter and it's a small thing, but it starts off with small things like this. Then it'll build up over time to more and more people talking about China. More people start visiting the country. Maybe China takes advantage of that and starts giving good work opportunities to Americans. America keeps having a terrible PR run with the rest of the world. And China in the long run could end up at #1. People thought with America back then, there's no way we could become #1 after all our f***ups. And we've been #1 and running since the 1890s. Something like this always creeps up slowly and over time. China right now is playing all the right cards and would have been unheard of in the 2000s and before. Once again, I'm not saying China's government is the greatest by any means.
That's literally North Korea.
They have some of the worst human rights issues and labor issues. The whole world gets stuff for cheap because they have people getting paid at like 50 cents a day. But America also has terrible issues too. The only difference between the two ways both countries are ran is that their government controls mostly what goes in and out. And here, billionaires control mostly what goes in and out, featuring politicians sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's gonna end it. Let me know y'all's thoughts on China's PR rebrand. Are you against it or are you a communist spy? These are the only two options, and if you pick the second, you will be deported. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.
Shout out to bro. I'm not gonna lie, Tommy NFG makes good ass videos. He made some really good videos. That was fire. Nizzy Ass Crack was good, bro. We used to have that then. Wait, what?